Have you ever met someone who seems to have it all together? A person whose attention to detail, loyalty, and intelligence stand out in any room? That's a Virgo for you. Often seen as the perfectionist of the Zodiac, Virgos are ruled by logic, precision, and practicality. But don't let their calm, composed demeanor fool you. They are deeply sensitive and emotional beings who value integrity and trust. When you hurt a Virgo, you're not just damaging their trust, you're challenging their core values. In this video, we'll explore 12 reasons why you should never hurt a Virgo. From their unwavering loyalty and high expectations to their analytical minds, Virgos are not the kind of people you want to cross. Let's dive into what makes the Virgo personality so powerful and why you should think twice before hurting someone who embodies such deep intelligence, loyalty, and care. 1. They are extremely loyal. Loyalty is one of the strongest qualities of a Virgo. When they commit to someone, whether it's a friend, partner, or family member, they are all in. Virgos don't take relationships lightly. They invest their time, energy, and heart into those they care about. For them, loyalty isn't just about being there during the good times, it's about showing up, supporting you, and standing by your side no matter what life throws your way. If you hurt a Virgo, you're not just breaking their trust, you're severing a bond that took time and effort to build. Once a Virgo's loyalty is betrayed, it's incredibly hard for them to give it back. They may forgive, but they won't easily forget. The emotional wound that comes from betrayal will stay with them for a long time, and they'll approach future relationships with a degree of caution. Their loyalty is a rare gift, and when it's given, it should be treasured. If you take it for granted, you risk losing it forever. 2. They have high standards. Virgos are known for having exceptionally high standards, not only for themselves but also for the people they interact with. This trait stems from their desire for perfection, efficiency, and order. Whether it's in their personal or professional lives, Virgos hold themselves to a very high bar, and they expect the same from others. This can make them seem critical or demanding at times, but it's only because they truly care about doing things right and ensuring that everything they touch is in perfect order. When you hurt a Virgo, you don't just disappoint them, you challenge their values and principles. Their high standards are tied to their sense of integrity, and when you fall short, it feels like a personal affront. A Virgo doesn't expect perfection from everyone, but they do expect respect for the effort they put into relationships and tasks. If you violate their standards, they may become distant or critical, and it will be difficult to regain their trust or respect. Their standards are part of what makes them unique, and once you break that trust, it can be a challenge to restore the bond. 3. They are highly analytical. Virgos are deeply analytical, which is one of the reasons they're so reliable and effective in problem solving. They have a sharp mind that notices the smallest details and can break down complex situations with ease. Whether it's assessing a project at work, evaluating a personal relationship, or figuring out the best course of action in life, Virgos are natural critical thinkers. They can look at things from every angle and weigh the pros and cons before making decisions. When a Virgo is hurt, this analytical ability kicks into overdrive. Instead of immediately confronting you or expressing their feelings, they'll dissect the situation in their mind, analyzing your words and actions from every angle. They'll search for patterns, motivations, and underlying causes. This means that when a Virgo is hurt, you might not even realize the extent of their feelings at first. They'll internalize the situation, and when they're ready to respond, their reaction will be well thought out and measured. This ability to process everything logically means that a Virgo's hurt will not be expressed hastily, it'll be calculated, and you may find it difficult to defend yourself once they've arrived at their conclusions. 4. They are sensitive deep down. Beneath the Virgo's meticulous and composed exterior lies a deeply sensitive heart. Despite their practicality and logical approach to life, Virgos are incredibly sensitive to emotional cues. They may not always show it, but they feel deeply, especially when it comes to the people they care about. Virgos have a quiet emotional depth that can catch you off guard. When hurt, they don't wear their emotions on their sleeves. Instead, they internalize their feelings, processing them quietly and often alone. This hidden sensitivity makes a Virgo vulnerable, even if they try to hide it. They may seem calm and collected, but when they're emotionally wounded, it's a different story. Hurt them, and it may take a long time for them to recover. They may not express their pain outwardly, but internally, they will be navigating a complex emotional maze. Once trust is broken, it's not just a bruise, it's an emotional scar that stays with them, quietly influencing their thoughts and interactions. You may never fully realize the weight of the hurt you've caused unless you've been deeply attuned to a Virgo's true emotional needs. 5. They don't easily forgive. Virgos are not quick to forgive, and this is especially true when their trust has been betrayed. While they are rational and practical, they carry a strong sense of justice and integrity. When someone violates these principles, the emotional impact can be lasting. Unlike other signs that may move on more easily, Virgos don't forget hurtful actions. They may put on a brave face, but deep down, the wound remains. Forgiveness for a Virgo is not just about letting go of resentment, it's about understanding the situation thoroughly and ensuring that trust is rebuilt. If they don't feel that genuine change has occurred, forgiving becomes nearly impossible. Even if they say they've forgiven you, there will always be a lingering doubt in the back of their mind. This is why it's difficult to gain back a Virgo's full trust once it's been broken. They might never openly hold a grudge, but inside, they are always evaluating whether they can truly trust you again. So, when you hurt a Virgo, don't expect a swift or easy path back to their heart. It will take patience, effort, and most importantly, genuine remorse. 6. They are perfectionists. Virgos are perfectionists by nature, and this trait often drives them to achieve excellence in everything they do. Whether it's their work, personal life, or the way they interact with others, Virgos demand perfection from themselves, and from those around them. They notice the smallest details that others might overlook, and they expect the same level of attention from others. Their quest for perfection can be both a strength and a challenge, especially when it comes to relationships. When a Virgo is hurt, their perfectionism can turn inward. They might scrutinize every detail of the situation, questioning their own role in the conflict and trying to figure out what went wrong. This self-reflection, while admirable, can also make it difficult for them to let go of the situation. Their perfectionist tendencies mean they want everything to be right, and if something is wrong in their emotional world, they will obsess over it until they feel that balance is restored. If you hurt them, you're not just damaging a relationship, you're disrupting their sense of order and making them doubt their own ability to trust. They may spend a long time trying to fix what was broken, both in the situation and within themselves. 7. They are quietly judgmental. Virgos may seem calm and diplomatic, but they have an inherent tendency to be judgmental. This judgment isn't loud or overt, but rather subtle and quietly woven into their interactions. They constantly evaluate situations, people, and even themselves with a keen eye for flaws and imperfections. Virgos' judgment is often based on their high standards, and while they might not openly express their opinions, they are mentally assessing everything around them. When you hurt a Virgo, you might not hear a dramatic confrontation or verbal attack, but the judgment will be there, quietly simmering beneath the surface. They will analyze what went wrong and take note of every detail. This internal judgment can be one of the most difficult aspects of dealing with a Virgo. Even if they don't say anything, their behavior will change, and you will feel the shift in their energy. It's not that they are judgmental in a malicious way, they just hold themselves and others to very high standards, and when those standards are violated, their silent judgment can create an emotional wall between you and them. 8. They are reluctant to show vulnerability. Virgos are highly self-reliant and often go to great lengths to avoid showing vulnerability. They are incredibly independent and pride themselves on being able to handle things on their own. Vulnerability, to a Virgo, feels like a loss of control, and they are not comfortable letting others see them in a weak or emotional state. They may prefer to deal with their emotions privately, away from the prying eyes of others. This reluctance to show vulnerability can make it difficult for others to understand the depth of their hurt. When a Virgo is hurt, they will often retreat into themselves, keeping their feelings hidden and processing everything internally. They may not ask for support or show that they need comfort, even if they desperately do. This emotional reserve can make it hard for loved ones to know what's going on, and if you've hurt them, you might not even realize the impact it has had on them until it's too late. Virgos may not wear their heart on their sleeve, but this only means that when they do let you in, you should never take their trust for granted. Their vulnerability is something they give sparingly, and once it's been hurt, it can be difficult for them to open up again. 9. They can be extremely critical. Virgos are known for their perfectionism, and this often translates into a sharp, critical eye. They have an innate ability to assess situations, relationships, and actions with precision, expecting everything to meet their high standards. This trait can make them incredibly dependable and effective in their personal and professional lives. However, when they are hurt, their critical nature becomes more pronounced. They won't just scrutinize the situation, they'll dissect it from every angle, often with harsh self-judgment and an internal evaluation of where things went wrong. When hurt, Virgos might express their frustration by focusing on your faults, pointing out what went wrong and how it could have been avoided. It's not always about being mean, rather, it's about their need for things to make sense and their discomfort with imperfection. If you've hurt a Virgo, they will likely focus on your mistakes, and even if they don't vocalize everything, they will mentally hold on to those flaws. This can create emotional distance, as their focus on critique may overshadow the more positive aspects of the relationship. Their critical approach is not just about addressing the issue at hand, it's about understanding why they were hurt, and unfortunately, that often means they'll zero in on everything that went wrong, making it difficult to move past the hurt. 10. They value integrity above all. For Virgos, integrity is everything. Their deep sense of honesty and moral compass defines who they are. When they are in a relationship, whether personal or professional, they expect honesty, transparency, and consistency. Integrity is the foundation of trust for a Virgo. They need to feel that the people around them share the same values and are true to their word. If you hurt a Virgo, especially by being dishonest or violating their values, you're hitting them at their core. They can forgive many things, but dishonesty or lack of integrity is something that will deeply wound them. A Virgo's perception of integrity is all-encompassing. It's not just about being truthful in the big things but also in the small, everyday actions. When you betray their trust, especially by acting in a way that doesn't align with their principles, they will view it as an attack on their entire sense of self. For them, dishonesty isn't just a flaw, it's a violation of their deepest values. When this happens, a Virgo's reaction will be deliberate and thoughtful. They will distance themselves emotionally, quietly assessing whether the relationship can be salvaged, but the damage to their trust may be irreparable. 11. They will distance themselves. Virgos, despite their tendency to be deeply engaged and caring, have a built-in mechanism for self-preservation. They distance themselves emotionally when they've been hurt. Unlike other signs that might confront or express their pain directly, Virgos tend to withdraw, keeping their feelings hidden. This withdrawal isn't always obvious. It's not like they'll give you the cold shoulder right away, but you'll begin to notice a subtle shift in their behavior. They may become quieter, less responsive, or simply less present in the relationship. This emotional distance is Virgo's way of processing their hurt. They need space to analyze what happened and determine how to move forward. Unfortunately, when they distance themselves, it's a sign that the hurt is deep. They're not likely to open up until they've had time to fully understand the situation and decide whether they can trust again. This retreat can feel like a silent rejection, and for those who care about them, it can be emotionally painful. If you've hurt a Virgo, they will need time to heal, and during this time, they may create space that could stretch indefinitely, depending on how deeply the wound goes. 12. They will seek out their own peace. Virgos are deeply introspective, and when they are hurt, they will go inward to find peace. They don't seek external validation or advice from others, they rely on their own minds to navigate emotional turmoil. Virgos value their mental clarity and emotional well-being, and when they are wounded, they will retreat into their own space to restore balance. Whether it's through their routine, a quiet walk, or simply reflecting in solitude, Virgos prioritize finding peace on their own terms. This need for personal peace means that they won't necessarily reach out for help when they are hurt. Instead, they will quietly process everything, weighing the situation with the same critical eye they use for everything else. If you've hurt them, don't expect immediate resolution or confrontation. Instead, a Virgo will take time to heal, re-establish their emotional equilibrium, and decide how, or if, they will continue the relationship. Their journey to peace is one of quiet strength, and once they have processed everything, they will return with a clearer sense of what they want from the relationship moving forward. But be warned, if you've hurt them deeply, it may take a long time before they are ready to open up again. In conclusion, Virgos may come across as composed, logical, and sometimes even distant, but beneath their careful exterior lies a deeply emotional, sensitive soul. When you hurt a Virgo, you're not just causing temporary discomfort, you're challenging their integrity, their trust, and their deeply held values. Their perfectionism, critical nature, and high standards are part of what makes them so remarkable, but they also mean that betrayal or dishonesty will leave lasting scars. Virgos might withdraw and seek out peace on their own, quietly analyzing the situation until they've regained their emotional balance. They won't always confront you directly, but their emotional distance will speak volumes. If you've hurt a Virgo, be prepared for a long road to rebuild trust and connection, if that's even possible. The damage done may linger in their minds and hearts far longer than you expect. So, if you have a Virgo in your life, treat their loyalty and integrity with the utmost care. They give their love and trust sparingly but deeply. Once it's broken, it's not easily fixed. Thank you for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Zodiac insights. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Virgos and how they've impacted your life. Leave your comments below.